I'm considering the Lions here though as the second best roster, and part of that's projecting their cornerback situation. They're at 6 here on the PFF.com roster rankings. But I look at that team, and we've given them so much credit on this show over the last few years, how they've built it piece by piece, brick by brick. This offseason, getting even deeper on the defensive line. Are there some question marks at cornerback this year? Yes, but they addressed them with Carlton Davis in a trade, with Terry and Arnold in the draft. I think the Lions have a chance to get up there. And look, they're in the NFC Championship with the Niners. I think the Lions have a chance to be up there with the Niners, fighting for that top spot. So I like the Lions at number 2.
I don't know that there's a better roster in the NFL than the Lions right now. Like, they would be absolutely I would have them either 1 or 2 on my roster rankings. I think the Lions really, really is a good roster. Like, they've done a phenomenal job of patching up holes, of addressing their biggest weaknesses, of attacking areas that haven't been as good. And they've got, I don't think there's a clear weakness. Now, you can look at it, corner you mentioned as, that's an area that potentially isn't as good as some others. But it's not like an obvious hole right now. It's like they've got one proven good quality starter in Carlton Davis. Terry and Arnold was, arguably cornerback number 1, cornerback 2, whatever way you want to look at it in this draft. It shouldn't be a weakness. Now, we know rookie corners don't always hit the ground running, and it might still be a problem. And then Brian Branch, obviously manning the slot, who's a really high-level player. So of your 3 starting cornerbacks, 2 of them should be minimum solid, and the third is just only a question mark because he's a rookie. But if he's as good as some rookies have been in recent years, it could be a massive strength. Like, they've overhauled the defensive line. You bring in DJ Reader, you bring in Marcus Davenport. Okay, he's still a bit of a gamble given what we've seen from him, but this is a really, really good roster.
I'm always a sucker for the Marcus Davenport ad, especially when there's not a ton of pressure on him. Maybe it's more of a rotational role. Maybe you get James Houston back.
Right.
It's still a bit of a question if they could rush the passer consistently opposite Aiden Hutchinson, but they've definitely made the moves to make that better. And then that receiving core, the way they've come together. And if Dan Campbell's telling the truth that Jameson Williams is ready to break out, in addition to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs, the amount of special, just unique type playmakers that they have there, I think we mentioned that going into last season. They were going to be able to attack defenses in a whole bunch of different ways, and they did that. And then, we're not talking coaching here, but Ben Johnson's back as well. And,
right.
To your point earlier, we know that he's the one pulling the strings, right? We know that he's the one getting the most out of these players as well. It doesn't hurt having that continuity.
Well, that goes into the Jared Goff conversation, right? It's like, how good is Jared Goff in a vacuum? Probably not as good as a lot of other quarterbacks, but Jared Goff plus Ben Johnson is a slightly different proposition, and that's what we're dealing with this year. We don't have to take away Ben Johnson and say, oh, what's Jared Goff going to do this year? We are pretty confident you're going to get a good season of Jared Goff because the offensive coordinator stayed in the building.